Hey everybody, Chief Meteorologist Brad Petovich here. Let's get right to the forecast because we've got some cold air moving in and some rain on the way. But before I get to that, if you haven't had a chance and you're watching this video, get outside because the Gemini meteor shower is peaking tonight through tomorrow morning. Now, the best time to go check this out is pretty much now until 10 o'clock because at 10:08, the moon's rising. So as it gets higher in the sky, you're going to lose more and more of the meteors. And we've got clouds rolling in tonight. So if you get a chance, go out there and check it out. If you don't see anything, hey, it's worth it. But it's cold out there. Bundle up. The reason I'm not too optimistic you have much more time, not only is the moon rising, but we also got some clouds moving in. You see the storm system back to the west. This storm system has been a prolific tornado producer in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and now Louisiana tonight. Some really dangerous weather moving through the middle of the country. This is the pattern-changing storm I talked about last week. You can see how impressive this system is. A lot of cold air behind it. In fact, look at that thing on the water vapor. That's just cool. I mean, it kind of shows you how much energy there is. It looks like a cinnamon roll on the satellite imagery there, and that kind of tells you it's a pretty powerful system. Let's quickly look at the temperatures here. I'm going to load them up real quickly if I can get up the load. Let me throw it in here real quick so you can see it. These temperatures are pretty cool behind it, but not as cold as it's going to get. You see the cold air, teens and 20s, some below freezing temperature, or below zero temperatures, I should say, in the mountains out west, but nothing brutally cold is what I'm going to show you coming up next week. Real quickly, though, let's focus on the rain first. The severe weather risk tonight, tomorrow, and on Thursday is right there. The system will be pushing in from the west. Here's what it looks like arriving tomorrow. Cold rain late in the day, but really Thursday morning is going to be the bulk of this, and then it's going to push out quickly. I'll show you the future cast, and I'll time this out. You can see tomorrow, wake up dry, go through the day, rain, probably 2, 3. So when the kids are getting off the bus, walking home, the first drops will start to fall, but the real heavy stuff doesn't come in until Wednesday night into early Thursday. Look at some of this rain early Thursday morning. It was going to be pouring and probably in the 40s, so really cold rain there. This is going to move out probably mid to late afternoon on Thursday, and then we're drying back out. So how much rain are we talking about? I know it seemed like it's rained a lot in December so far, and it's been more about how many days we've had rain than actually the amounts. Because the amounts in December, I'll be honest with you, everybody's below average still. It's just that we've had a lot of misty, drizzly days that haven't amounted to a whole lot of precipitation. This is going to be a lot of rain. This will by far blow away the rain we've seen so far, inch and a half, maybe 1.75 inches. So this is a much heavier rain that's heading our way. Okay, so social media rumors been going wild. You've seen my rants online. You know my rules. Let me go back. I think I have the rules in here. For winter weather forecasting, people are sharing single model runs of forecast way out in the future. Let me move my head here out of the way. I'm going to grab my head real quickly and I'll move it to this side of the map. Here's my rules. Okay, there they are right there. I can point the right direction. 7 to 10 days out is when you start looking for a pattern that means favorable for wintry weather somewhere in the southeast. Folks, we're not even 7 to 10 days out from Christmas yet. We're 12 days as of this recording. Yesterday was 13. The day before was 14. So looking that far out, you cannot get detailed information. What happens is people start putting out maps that should be in the 1 to 3 day range. They start putting them out at 14 days. That's way ahead of the game here. So we're not in the 7 to 10 day range yet. The pattern is cold. I am absolutely convinced it is going to be cold for Christmas this year. That's not the question. The question is always going to be about wintry weather. Now, let's talk about that potential. I'll show you the pattern that I'm looking at. This is the upper level pattern. This is as of Tuesday, 9 p.m. You could see the cold air up in Canada starts to push south. And really starting this weekend, it moves into Western Canada. And this is where you start to verify, okay, are we going to see this pattern develop? Well, if we start seeing things shape up by this weekend, remember the weekend, what is today? Tuesday, right? If we get into the weekend, let me go back. Saturday, Sunday. If we start to see this unfolding the way it looks there, then we know it's probably going forward going to look similar to what we have. But, we're not even there yet. Let's go to early next week. The flow actually flattens out a little bit here. This is a pretty zonal flow. This is not exactly frigid. The frigid air is up here. Then it starts to push south. So watch what happens early next week, middle of the week. Boy, that's a big trough. That is a deep, deep trough. Moves into the western U.S. first. So the first batch of cold air comes here. Look at over us. This is a ridge. This is warm air. So this is really interesting. We could be really warm just ahead of this. So there's going to be some kind of brief warm up before the bottom drops out going into Friday. Now, Christmas Eve, we'll have to see how things unfold. So just to kind of show you, that's the upper level look. This is actually what it means. Next week, the cold air moves here first, then it starts to push to the south, and then it starts to head into the east by basically Christmas weekend, Christmas Day, Monday, the 26th. Here's the problem with getting wintry weather out of this. If this is as cold as it looks, and this dives far down here, the storm track is down here. So guess what? It's cold, but it's dry. For us to get snow, we want the cold air in place. We actually would probably want this to be tugged just a little bit further north so that we have just enough cold air, but the storm track is more like this, or really more like this. The fact that the storm track's down here over Florida is not ideal for us to get winter weather. So when people say, oh, the pattern looks good, it doesn't actually. It looks good for cold, because it actually looks really good for cold. The problem is the cold air is so far south. I mean, we're talking freezes down into Florida, that the storm track gets suppressed and pushed down there. So it ends up not being ideal. So when we look at the long range futurecast, and I'll show you, this is the system in the middle of this week. So this is Wednesday, Thursday. We go into the weekend, cold and dry. Here comes a system early next week. And I know some of your apps are trying to make this into snow, but that looks like it misses us, if anything. And if anything, it's a cold rain. Pushes off to the east. And then we go into the end of next week. Look at that cold front. That's the cold front to watch. But look at what's going on ahead of this. This is a warm flow. I mean, this is not, the Arctic air is here. Cold air dives into Texas. So as this cold front pushes east into Friday, into Christmas Eve, it's probably going to be the one that brings us the cold. And rarely do you get snow with the system that brings you the cold. It's the system immediately following. So there's other signs that this just is not the kind of setup that we need for snow right now. It certainly could change because, as I mentioned, we're so far away from this till. We were 12 days from Christmas. So I think we've got plenty of time to watch this thing for sure. Let me quickly, I had the temperature map here because I think the temperatures tell a real good story. So what does this all mean? Here's the actual surface temperatures this week. Gets cold. Yeah, it's a cold weekend, 40s and 50s for highs. But that's the mother load. You see that kind of aqua shade? That's below zero. When you see that color on our map, that's below 0 Fahrenheit. Starts diving, and you'll see the temperatures match as it dives to the south. Watch this. This is going to be one doozy up front. I'm actually going to be in Texas for this, which is going to be crazy. This is what they call blue norther. This thing's going to be marching down the plain. I mean, look at this. 13 below in Pampa, 73 in Houston. That is going to be a doozy. And eventually this will push to the east. So this is next Friday. Friday is the 23rd of December. Saturday's Christmas Eve, and then Sunday is Christmas Day. That's where the front is right now. This is 10 days into the future. We're not there yet. So I know people love sharing maps and all this stuff. Just trust me. I'll be honest with you. If there's a legit chance, I'm going to tell you. I'll be doing vlogs even when I'm off and keep you up to date. Snow on Christmas here is rare. 4% of the years, or 4 times out of 144 years, which is only 2% of the years, has it actually happened. It's actually been 70 degrees more often than snow on Christmas. So statistically, it's rare. But this year, we've got something we haven't had in a couple of years, really cold temperatures. 2020 was a really cold Christmas. I actually made snow in my backyard. So this year, we're not going to be 71 like last Christmas. It's going to be cold. The problem is right now, as I see it, it's cold and dry. We don't have the moisture yet. So if you're looking for snow on Christmas, we got to get the storm track going. The cold air looks to be there, and hopefully the moisture will cooperate for snow lovers. But again, 12 days out. We got time to watch it. Stay tuned.